here we go. It's that time of the week again to talk a little bit of wrestling. It's Mister Young.
Alex Foreign in the building, bro.
Ah,
Let's take a bit of a breather, bro.
a
After
breather.
last week.
Um,
Right?
Oh my goodness, you know what, man? Four and I, we were like discussing what do we talk about this week. And then we realized, hey, like all the drama happened the past 2 weeks. Thankfully, we have a bit of a lull. I mean, I did take a look at some of the spoilers. I don't know if you want me to spoil Raw for you, but a certain person
Yeah,
returned.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. I think we should just jump right into that part because
Okay.
right before we went on live,
Yeah.
our Discord was blowing up with the reactions of that return.
Well, you know, they are not like most girls.
Oh, indeed.
The return of the hole. We all remember my hole, do we not?
Oh yes, wow. Actually, it almost faded off my memory. Thanks for bringing that back to the forefront, bro.
Bro, the internet never forgets.
Of course it does. Oh no, you know what the best part is, right? Okay,
What?
so of course, for those who do not know, I mean spoilers, right? Nia Jax returned in the main event. I think the main event was women's championship match between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez, right?
Yeah. Can I just say, before we jump into anything, right? I like that duo. Like, the two of them have worked together before. They have a very good chemistry. I feel like Raquel needs to go away and rebuild her character a bit first before, like, it feels a little bit like she's not up to, I don't mean by wrestling standards, I mean like her character is not as strong as Rhea's right now, so it feels mismatched. She feels like a, like a side quest.
Yeah. No, they already had Goldmine, when they called her Big Mommy Cool, right?
Yeah.
What's better than Mommy versus Big Mommy Cool? Come on. It's just right there, right?
Okay, do you think that they don't want to go into the Big Mommy Cool because then there will be two mommies and that would be, too confusing from a branding perspective? They don't want two people with the same name.
How many Chris's are there during the Attitude Era, bro? Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, Chris... no lah, bro. It's fine.
That's why they use the last name, not the first name. But yeah, we digress.
Yeah, okay, great. Let's get back to the main point, right? So, of course, at the end of the match, there was an interference of sort, a very huge interference with the return of Nia Jax, which nobody missed. That one time she appeared at the Royal Rumble, I recall our dear friend, who's not here today, Joe Corner Pro. He was so pissed, bro. He's so pissed. I'm done with wrestling. That was his reaction when she came back. And then, right, the funniest thing about the internet is as soon as Nia Jax appeared on the screen, right, on Instagram, bro. All her Botcha Mania moments started pouring through the timeline. It's like almost like automatic,
We just said. The internet never forgets. Let's say hello to everybody in chat, by the way. Edison's good to see you. HS Lee, McJohn Mouse, Irvin, Jason. Hey, it's good to see all of you.
Yeah,
Div Royalty, I see you there as well. Yes.
Yes, Div Royalty. Indeed, and I think the best thing about like talking about Raw, right, is
Haley, hello. Yes, sorry.
The thing about Raw is like, even if you have nothing to talk about, right, we can straight away talk about what just happened on Raw, and there's always gonna be something, especially in the last couple of weeks. So it's a good thing.
I mean, hey, is Papa H doing the right things? He's bringing back people that have been away for a while. He's keeping things fresh, right? I mean, can we agree that there are some like boring spots here and there, but by and large, the WWE product right now is fresh week on week?
Okay, I would say bringing people back is not a bad thing, but bringing Nia Jax back, I don't know whether it's a good thing.
Well, I mean, hear me out here, right? Like,
okay, sure.
Right now, who is sort of a contender for Mommy, for Rhea Ripley? Kind of nobody, if you think about it. Bianca Belair is off taking a break and she deserves a bit of a break. And we need Bianca Belair to go away for a while. It's the thing, people won't miss you unless you've been away. So I think it's good that Bianca Belair is taking some time off, recuperate, that kind of thing. I kind of wish she'll come back as a heel, but I don't know. I think she might be in the John Cena bracket where she's just too good of a role model to ever turn heel at this point, right? They need her for like all the, the community service things that the WWE does. You have to understand this is a corporate structure as well.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, as I would like to allude to what happened on Smackdown this past Friday, I think, right, if there is a tease going on of a certain Judgment Day versus Hurt Business 2.0, isn't that the perfect spot to reinsert her into the program?
Perhaps, especially because, yes, you will have a Mami versus Bianca, which is the thing that we all want to see, right? But knowing them, they are probably playing a little bit of a long game. So a return for Bianca maybe in a couple of months to even the odds. But okay, here's the problem with that, right? You got Hurt Business 2.0, or whatever they want to call it. But technically, it's two heel factions going up against each other, isn't it? So how is that going to work?
Yeah, so either, they really make Hurt Business like kind of like a babyface badass group.
Yeah.
Or they turn like, Judgment Day a bit of a tweener, like how they did with the Shield.
Right. But that one's a bit weird, right? Like, because you have Dominic who like, oh, and by the way, I think they need to calm down on okay, like the booing thing with Dominic, right?
Yes.
It's a bit obvious. Can you tell that the production team turns up the crowd noise when the booing happens? Does it feel obvious to you? Because it feels very obvious to me now.
Okay, I mean, as the radio DJ expert, audio extraordinaire that you are, I'm sure you picked up on it earlier than most people.
Right.
But for some reason, you're right, especially this past weekend. Like, I feel like when Finn Balor talks is normal. When Damon Priest talk, the volume normal. But the moment Dom talks, the crowd suddenly from out of nowhere, like a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You can tell, like, they subtly just increase the volume of the crowd noise. They decrease his mic volume to make it even more obvious. I think them making it obvious is very to me. But if to you it wasn't obvious, then that's fine, right? But to me, maybe because I listen to sound all the time, so I'm kind of a sound guy. So I'm like, okay, this sounds a bit weird to me.
Yeah. No, but I do not know whether they are taking it too far, because I'm pretty sure the live crowd in attendance, right, would actually just boo him like incredibly loud without the need for some special effects. Right?
I think that's my point though. That the crowd is already doing it. Why do you have to make it even sweeter? Like I get it, but I also like, I don't think it's necessary. To me, it's very obvious. But that's just nitpicking, because like I said, most people probably wouldn't even realize it. So yes, back to Judgment Day versus Hurt Business 2.0. I mean, once again, going back to something a little bit more fresh, the Street Profits definitely need a bit of a boost because they'd been sort of like languishing in tag team purgatory for a very long time already. And now with Bobby Lashley, like, here's my thing. Who's going to be the mouthpiece of that group? Is it going to be Montez? Because we all know Montez Ford can talk. Angelo Dawkins can talk, right?
Yep.
And Bobby Lashley should not talk.
I mean, okay, Bobby Lashley can go into the MVP role as like the enforcer boss, but he should be the one that talks the least. I think you're right. I think let the Street Profits do the talking for both of them,
Which is actually, okay, if you think about it in terms of like factions in the past, has there been a faction where, quote unquote, the main guy is not actually the talker? The main, like, Bobby Lashley is the main event guy, right? But usually,
yes, correct.
So usually there's a manager. Maybe friggin' what is MVP doing? He's still not hanging out with Omos, is he?
I think he might still be with Omos,
Where is Omos? Omos, they just drag him out once every 5 months.
No, I think he's stuck somewhere either in India or brought back.
Did they bring him to India, by the way, for the Superstar Spectacle, which I thought was going to be on the WWE Network? I was like, okay lah, never mind lah, watch lah. It wasn't. I was mildly upset.
Oh dear God, yeah. I'm not too sure what's the plan for them, but the thing about MVT and Omos, right? I feel like their duo is really run its course.
Yeah.
If they want to bring back Hurt Business 2.0, they really need to bring back what do you call it? They really need to bring back MVT. But I almost feel like without MVP also is fine, but won't have the same effect.
I feel like they need, or maybe this is me just defaulting back to like the stereotypical faction, and maybe they need to try something new. I could be wrong on this, right? But my point is that it feels weird that they don't have a mouthpiece, because we know that Bobby is not the mouthpiece. He's not going to be good as a mouthpiece.
Yeah, and that's true.
The tag team of the group isn't traditionally the mouthpiece. They have the energy, they have the, like, but I don't know. Maybe, okay, what's Teddy Long doing these days? No.
Oh dear God.
Actually, if they could get Booker T, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, okay, I think as a four-person group with Bianca Belair, it can still work. But then it puts the pressure on the Street Profits to be the so-called the mouthpiece for the group, right? Do you think so? Yeah.
Nashwan, hello, by the way. Irving suggests maybe you need to put Omos with Grayson Waller or Austin Theory. No. Omos needs to be, put away. Omos and Satnam Singh can form a tag team and wrestle in Impact, which I don't watch, so I don't have to worry about it.
Oh dear God, don't say like that lah, bro. Poor guy. Come on, it's not
Okay, like
that
you
bad.
know what Omos is now? He's occupied that spectacle role. He'll literally show up for a big Saudi event, India event. Like, because he looks big, he looks tall. Okay, just have him in one match. That's his role. That's essentially his role now.
Yes, yes, in a way, but I feel like they need those attraction roles for like a Royal Rumble or for like a big event, when you're doing things.
Do you
So,
wait?
yeah.
Do you really though? Like, think of all the people that could have filled in the spot that was occupied by Omos. But I get what you mean. Like, I get what you mean. I absolutely do. Okay, we are not going to go into a half an hour dissertation about Great Khali and Omos and the Giants, right? That's a topic for another day. But okay, let's talk a little bit since we brought up. Do you want to still continue with Street Profits and the Hurt Business 2.0? Anything else?
No. I think we've already kind of covered, and I think this is a developing storyline, right?
Yeah.
And we'll probably have more to say in the coming weeks ahead.
Yes.
So yeah.
The one that, of course, is a lot more enticing, we'll get to in just a second. But very quickly, since Irvin brought it up, Wala and Theory. What do you think of these two guys hanging out together as sort of like being this, cocky, arrogant team?
Can I say that this reminds me a bit of Rated RKO? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Hear me out.
I see
because right, in 2006, right, Randy had already his early main event run, right? 2004, Chris Benoit, he didn't do so well. He had his Undertaker run, but then in 2000 he was a bit of kind of floundering, trying to find himself.
Yep.
And I feel like Austin Theory is in the exact same spot. He already had a taste of this main event, like mainstream kind of thing, but he didn't really swim perfectly, So I feel like, okay, WWE trying to push the brakes back a bit, put him a tag team, right? Try to develop a bit more of his character. And Grayson Waller, let's just be honest, yes, for all his flaws, I think he has a more charismatic personality than Theory. So maybe they can help each other out.
Bro, the wrestling historian in you is showing that is a great example, bro. That is a great example. Like, I get exactly what you mean, and those two fit that. And maybe that's what Triple H or whoever the powers may be are thinking, like, okay, Theory, we pushed him already. He definitely has it, right? Like how Orton had it. But it's just, something is a little bit off. It's not really there. Let's put him together with a young upcoming guy. They're both like ultra heel magnets. So I totally see them being a thing together for a while. And then, at some point they'll stab each other in the back. That's great. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the problem with Theory is, right, this era, there's no Mick Foley to give him a hardcore match and put him through thumbnails to build up his toughness, So like the fans look at him like, this guy's a putz, right? Like, you know what I mean?
He doesn't
Nothing
have cred.
to develop his toughness. Yeah, so he needs that street cred. And I thought, John Cena would have done it, but John Cena was just there to put him over in one match.
Yeah.
But he needs to be in a series. Imagine, bro. With Edge, perhaps, right? If Edge really took a liking to him, put him through like a very intense personal rivalry and bring up that killer instinct in him, then maybe you can put him over the crowd.
Okay, so like you talk about that whole Edge and Mick Foley sort of vibe, right? I get it, but who occupies that role? There is no Mick Foley role anymore. There's no grizzled veteran that will, because, okay, John Cena, right? Like, it's funny that you bring him up because, yes, John Cena, how do I put it? I don't see him as this gritty sort of like, Mick Foley type. He's very much a product of the WWE.
Yes.
So who would be that guy? Can you even think of anybody? Maybe he should go AEW where he can fall into thumbtacks every day.
No. Okay, there's a difference between using a hardcore environment to put someone over and just doing a John Moxley, right?
No, exactly.
Don't go all out and you must do it within the context of a story. I think people like Terry Funk, Mick Foley did it best. They knew how to introduce violence in a way that makes sense in the storyline.
And not just violence for the sake of violence because it's cool.
Yeah, so, well, at the end of the day, we want to toe the line between trying to make him look tough, trying to make him look like unrealistic, right?
Yeah. So back to my point. Who is that person with the, the tenure who has the grizzled veteran sort of vibe that can give him that rub that will put him to the next level. I wonder if this is a consequence of the past couple of years, the previous generation being kind of meh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, if they, for some reason, they built up Sheamus into this bruiser, which he is. But I feel like Sheamus and Theory had a couple of US title matches, and the chemistry wasn't there, or just something wasn't about it wasn't like that happening. Yeah, that's what you're alluding to, right? Like the early 2010 roster of wrestlers, no one really took over that Mick Foley tough man role in the company, right?
So who? So it's isn't it a weird, just a random thought, but who occupies that tough guy role now? Like obviously all of them are tough. Fiat says Boogeyman lah.
Bodoh lah. I saw that pop out of the chat. I was like, guys.
I'm the Boogeyman and I'm coming to get you.
Oh dear. Okay, Mac Jomas actually had a very interesting suggestion.
No.
Wait, no. Hear me out. I know he says get Dean Ambrose alone, not John Moxley.
Okay.
If Dean Ambrose stayed in the trajectory of WWE and was like really molded well and could have exceeded in that WWE role, he could have been technically the hardcore guy in WWE.
True. Without going overboard like he does every week on AEW. That is true. But it's a little bit too late. And at this point, with the billionaire funding him, do you think he wants to come back? To come back to rules and regulate? Of course not, right?
Yeah. Oh my god, Irvin says Kevin Owens kind of had that vibe.
Okay, but see, Kevin Owens is not previous generation, I feel. You know what I mean? Like the Edge and Mick Foley dynamic was like two different generations. I don't know.
I guess so. Well, the funny thing is, right, I feel like in this current WWE environment, they don't need to have a violent tough guy. They just need to have like I would say Gunther could still be that standard bearer. Like, okay, you can get through Gunther. That is like your gatekeeper, right?
Like, then what about a Drew McIntyre? You talk about that kind of a tough guy.
Yeah, I think Drew pulls that off really, really well.
Right.
Get all the European people lah.
So what you're saying is the Europeans are tougher lah.
I mean, I don't know. Let's not talk about politics now.
Okay. That's just a little bit of a sidebar. Let's talk about what we really want to talk about. The tease, right? So there was a hint of it on Smackdown where we had LA Knight interacting with Paul Heyman.
Yeah, there we go.
Wait, Irvin, hang on. Irvin says Jeff Hardy would fit very well. Bro, Jeff Hardy shouldn't wrestle anymore. And I say this with all the love and care, and I'm not like being a dick about it, right? But it's rough watching him in the ring now. Like, he's put his body through so much. I think it would look bad. So I would respectfully disagree with the Jeff Hardy suggestion.
We all love Jeff Hardy, but I felt like he did. Basically, right, he is what Darby Allin could end up being if he doesn't take care of himself.
No, exactly, right?
It is, right?
Him and Matt could have had such an incredible end, like a run, but then they went to AEW and that's that. Anyway, okay, back to things we want to look forward to. All right, Paul Heyman and LA Knight, they're teasing it. Is LA Knight going to be another side quest for Roman Reigns though? That's the thing. Like, part of me is like, oh man, I kind of don't want this to happen because I don't want him to be a side quest. I want him to be the champ.
Right. Let's give some context, right? So we've heard, on the internet that LA Knight has reportedly signed or renewed a deal, right? Like a 5-year deal. So it seems like WWE is like, if they're gonna push him, now's the time because they really put the money behind him, right?
Yeah.
So I am of the hope, not of the belief. I'm of the hope that WWE looks at him and like, you know what? We need great baby faces to come across opposite Roman Reigns. We have Cody Rhodes in the back. That's a long-term story, but we need someone in the interim that might not necessarily win right now, but will give fans like a glimpse of like, you know what? I can see this guy as a main eventer. Right. So I feel like if LA Knight were to have like a one-on-one with Roman Reigns from like somewhere in Survivor Series to like Crown Jewel and all that and just fall short, I think that would still make him as a star.
Okay.
Right. right? And then going into WrestleMania season, whether he goes into Royal Rumble, wins the title, challenges Seth Rollins or whatnot along those lines, he really comes into Royal Rumble feeling like The Rock in 1998. Like, okay, this guy is the next guy after Stone Cold.
Right.
Do you feel like his age will still go against him though?
It will, in that he's not going to be a super long-term champion. He will probably like win the big one, as it were, and then just become the veteran after that straight away because of his age, right? But there's nothing wrong with that necessarily.
Yeah, for sure. I see him a bit of AJ Styles role, right?
Sure, yeah.
AJ Styles entered the company in 2016. He was 39 or 38 around there, which is technically where LA Knight is right now. But then he impressed in his first year, had that awesome series of matches with John Cena, and then straight away he was pushed as the top champion on SmackDown, right? And he had a good 1 or 2 year run, and now he's like a bona fide veteran. I see that trajectory for LA Knight.
Right. Irvin brings up a good point. I would push him in the title picture only after Mania. If not, it'll hijack the Cody story. Right, because the Cody Roman Reigns story has been building for well over a year. You talk about long-term storytelling, like, okay, I'm impressed that they managed to keep it together this long, right? True, but here's the thing about the Roman Reigns title reign, as it were. I feel like they've sort of booked themselves into this weird position where it's like, now the person to win it has to be a big deal,
Yeah.
Like, you can't just switch the title anymore because you build it so long. The longer you make him hold it, the higher the stakes are, right? And now the stakes are at its peak, its boiling point. So it kind of has to be Cody.
Yeah, Cody is the right choice, but I feel like LA Knight is like the dark horse choice. He's kind of like where Sami Zayn is like earlier this year, right?
Do you think, and I always bring this up as an example because this is one of my favorite WrestleMania main events ever, right? It could be a thing where LA Knight is the Chris Benoit of Triple H and HBK, you know?
Yeah, and we've seen a pattern, right, developing right here. WrestleMania 20, first ever triple threat match.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 30, the Daniel Bryan Yes Movement triple threat match. And now we're hitting WrestleMania 40. Don't you think, realistically, we could see another main event triple threat match, right?
Ooh, Irvin says Cody loses at Mania, he needs to become a mega heel. Imagine. Let's build on that for a second. Triple threat. Roman Reigns, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes. Cody, maybe Cody doesn't lose. Maybe LA Knight actually pins Roman Reigns, becomes a champion. Cody Tulan turns on him. And then Roman Reigns takes a break because he needs a break, right? He needs to go and chill for a bit. Then we move on to Cody versus LA Knight.
Okay, that will swerve everyone. Everyone will be like, holy crap.
Yep. But
I feel like Triple H, knowing the Dusty story, appreciating that, won't screw over the sun lah. So
dude,
bad.
Finish the story, right? He needs to finish the story. He cannot finish the story as a heel, man. Come on.
No, I mean, this is one of the only good, feel-good, like legitimate babyface story arcs that there is in WWE that they shouldn't screw. I think that is a big Vince McMahon thing to do. Because you're like, just turn things around, right?
Yeah.
But nah, Triple H I think has too much respect for that storyline and what Cody has built. Because Cody's story, right, it's not just his return from WWE up until now. It is his entire life, bro. It is his journey in wrestling, right? From leaving WWE, going to AEW and coming back. So I feel like for such a high stakes of beating Roman Reigns, that high stakes of a backstory deserves it, right? To match up.
So what you're saying is LA Knight at best can have the consolation prize, which is the World Heavyweight Champion, which is the Seth Rollins one. Poor thing.
No. I mean, well, let's establish Seth Rollins as what he is, right? He is Raw's champion. He is a world champion, but he is not the world champion in WWE. We all accepted it. That's probably like where the IC title used to be back in the day, right?
No, but now one is a champion of the universe, bro. Universe bigger than world.
Yeah, that's true.
It's clear, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no Galaxy champion, then that's fine, right?
Multiverse champion, bro. That's the next one. Brock Lesnar comes back. I'm the champion of the multiverse.
Oh my god. CM Punk returns to WWE, carries the AEW title. Multiverse.
Yes. Oh, and I mean, there's always the thought of CM Punk. Could he be there? Could he come into WWE? And we talked about it last week, right? Like a 6-month contract, 3-month contract wouldn't be out of the ordinary. And it wouldn't hurt the WWE locker room quite as much. But
Indeed.
that's just fantasy stuff lah. Okay, so right now the title picture, very interesting, right? You got Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Nakamura still kind of there. You got LA Knight, right? Teasing that sort of incursion into Roman Reigns' empire. What about Damian Priest? He's there. He's senior Money in the Bank, Div Royalty. Where are you?
Where you at, girl? I know it's your guy.
I'm talking about your guy. So Damian Priest is still there as a threat, and I don't think they'll do him dirty by having him, be one of the few to not be able to cash in. So,
well, you know what I would say, and this is like early predictions, right? You talk about Damian Priest does deserve to be a world champion, but I don't think he deserves to dethrone Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Could he cash in the Money in the Bank on a Seth Rollins instead, and that be a main event match?
See, that's the thing. We keep going back to just beat Seth lah. Just beat Seth lah. Everything never mind lah. Cannot beat Roman, but just beat Seth.
Seth is like that. Seth is who, right? Seth is who's always in the Attitude Era, right? Every time he win the title, right, we are like, okay, like he will be the one that loses it, like he'll be the one that loses. Is it
Kane?
Like a Angle?
Kane.
Oh, Kane, yeah, Kane.
Yeah. Kane win, next day lose.
Oh, dear God. Okay, no, Seth Rollins is not Kane, Seth Rollins is better, right?
Okay. Oh my God. Go ahead.
I wanted to say something else, right? You talk about Damian Priest. There's also one more dark horse, bro, and I want to talk about a bit about him after this.
Okay.
Gunther, bro. Gunther.
I mean,
Gunther,
yes,
right?
the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, eclipsing the Honky I'm the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh my God, thank God, bro. Why the hell is that a thing for 35 years? But
those days lah, huh? But I mean, look, it makes sense that they did it for him for the sake of the IC belt as well. Now you have a badass representing the IC belt as opposed to, a joke character a little bit.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I think on Raw, I saw some clips of it that they had like a championship presentation or like some ceremony to commemorate him becoming the longest running champion. And don't forget, right?
Yeah.
The championship, the last title defense that he had last week against Chad Gable was like an amazing match. And a lot of people are saying like, it's 1-1, right? Chad Gable had the count of victory, and now Gunther defended the title. They need a rubber match, and I feel like somehow I think Chad Gable should be the one that dethrones him in that rubber match.
Sure. I mean, putting over Chad Gable at the same time, right? And
putting over Chad Gable and freeing him out to ascend to the world title picture.
Against who? Seth Rollins, of course, because we all know Cody and Roman already have that. See, that's the problem. They booked themselves into this weird position where literally anybody you throw up against Roman Reigns, they won't win one. Which, it's kind of a crap situation, but it is what it is. A lot of suggestions in chat. I love it, by the way, that you guys are sharing. John Mouse says, I'm more interested in the North American title. To be fair, when was the last time Dom defended that damn thing? Is he going to be that guy?
No, he won against Wesley. He had like one title defense, and after that he just chabut. He just lepak on Raw, never go NXT anymore.
Which I guess kind of makes sense for that, like sort of a cowardly heel character. Is like, he's the champion, but he never defend.
Yeah. Oh, I like what Vias Grinder said. Like, he's just waiting for that Judgment Day Civil War, right?
Oh yeah. McDonough has been JD McDonough. I forgot his name.
Bro, what's
your lurking around? Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that guy? I can't really decide how I feel about him and his role in this whole situation.
I feel like I don't know, man. Yeah, like, it's like he's trying to be there to disturb a bit, try to get in the good graces. Like, what, is he going to replace Finn? Did Finn bring him in to oust Damian because he's jealous? There's a lot of ways this could play out, which is great, right? Yeah. But I kind of feel like, why mess with something that's already working? Like, are they trying to go with Bloodline 2.0 so they'll have drama soon enough? Like, oh, you don't like me. Damn. That kind of thing. Like, who's going to backstab who?
But it's hard to take seriously because he looks a bit like a hobbit. Like, very tough. Like
Spike Dudley. Oh my God, Fias is Spike Dudley.
Oh dear God.
He got pervert face. I mean, he
The
does.
Spike Dudley of the Dudley Boys, right?
See, here's the thing,
yeah.
and that is such a true thing, right? Like, and I hate that that's what it is, but let's be real here. When you see him, he looks tiny compared to these guys, and it's not like he can work it on the mic like amazingly, right? His mic work is alright only.
Bro, speaking of tiny, right? I now know who he reminds me of, bro.
Who?
Who's that tiny dwarf guy from Game of Thrones? You know exactly like him, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah. He played. He was in Avengers Endgame also.
Yeah, he was a dwarf.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I forget. I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I know the character you're talking about.
Okay, if you guys on chat, I know you guys know who I'm talking about. It's the one that is like the short guy. He always plays like dwarf character.
Yeah. Because he is a dwarf. He always plays dwarf character.
Tyrion Lannister was really great acting.
Tyrion. Yes, no, he is a really good actor. That's the thing though. He's a really good actor.
Yeah.
I don't think JD McDonough is a good actor.
No, God. Yeah. That's it, right?
See, on NXT, his whole gimmick was like he's this sadistic guy. He will break you down joint by joint, that kind of thing, right? And it works in the NXT system. You know what I mean? Peter Dinklage, thank you very much.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
My God. Hornswoggle your head, Larry. No, but yeah, I was in my back of my head. Should I say Hornswoggle? But anyway.
But he's not Hornswoggle. He's just smaller than the Just Rudy, but we're just teasing, guys.
Yeah. It's weird, right? To find a role for him in the group. Like, are they gonna make him this like silent assassin, no? Like the manipulator in the background because he has the face.
Yeah. But then again, he needs to have that X factor of like, okay, is he gonna be a bad guy? Is he gonna be a good guy? He needs to have that danger in him, right? Like, if it was I'm just shooting random names, right? If they put Tommaso Ciampa in this role, right? Then you'll be like, oh yeah, what does Ciampa? What is he up to? What is his ulterior motive? Because he got that face, right? Yeah, so the only reason why they're trying to get JD on this, I think, is really because he is Finn Balor's trainee. Let's be really, really honest, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, he might just really end up like a side character or like a Spike Dudley sort. Irvin says, if Vince is still around booking, he'll make JD eat and break chicken wings in his entrance video. Because that's the thing, I don't know, him and Butch do a finger breaking match or something like that.
You know who would be a great person for this role?
Who?
Bro, Ilya Dragunov. Fuck. And then you'll be like, oh, this guy having matches with Finn Balor and becoming his like guy behind him. Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool, yeah.
So, that's the thing though. Like, the WWE right now is fresh. To me, there are a lot of fresh things that are happening right now, right? There's the comedy stuff, there's the more serious stuff, and
bro, we haven't even talked about Jey Uso, bro.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God. Have you seen his entrances since he returned, since he came on Raw?
Yeah.
Bro, he becoming like concert, bro. Now the whole crowd is like a hip-hop crowd, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, that's cool. And they're trying to do the whole, like, he's proving himself in the Raw locker room. So it's like, everyone begrudgingly trying to, like, can we trust him? Can we not trust him? So I like it. At least they're paying off the storyline. And isn't that whole, like, oh, now that you're face, we all friends. Everyone's still treating him like, hey,
you gotta earn him back. Right?
Earn back the respect. So
yeah, and I like the interaction he had with Sami Zayn last week, where Sami Zayn was the first one to welcome him to the roster. I think that's great continuity. On Raw this week, I think Sami Zayn wasn't on Raw, so he interacted with Kevin Owens.
Yes.
And Kevin Owens has his issues in the past, right? With So it's like, I don't trust you, but fine, let's be the same team. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Jey Uso, I feel like WWE is playing a long game, keeping him away on Raw, letting him build up his babyface stature, and then I think finally WrestleMania season 10 bring him back together with Jimmy.
Correct, yeah. That's absolutely going to be, hey, why not sow the seeds at the Rumble? They can meet at the Rumble after not touching each other for like, almost half a year. Makes sense, right? Or like months, right?
Yeah, man, like if I haven't touched my girl for like a year, the moment I touch, right, wow. It's gonna be.
That's a
fireworks,
terrible
man.
analogy. We shall move on from that. No, but imagine at the Rumble, the Usos haven't talked to each other, haven't touched each other for like months already. And then who eliminates Jey Uso? Is Jimmy Uso.
Oh dear God! Then they kickstart it all over again.
Right. There you go. Then we revisit the issue finally. Like we were wondering, like, how the hell are they gonna do it? I guess they're gonna do it this way.
That also brings me to the point, right? Like. They said like, okay, if Jey Uso suddenly is on Raw, they need to send somebody to SmackDown, and then there was speculation that could it be Cody Rhodes? Could Cody Rhodes be this? Could this be Cody Rhodes way back into the title picture against Roman Reigns? But do you think it's a bit too soon? I don't know. What's your thoughts?
It is too soon. I think Cody Rhodes, that story needs to kick off after the Rumble, where he loses the Rumble. We cannot have him win the Rumble twice in a row. I think that would be too much. He's the second last one out. Somebody throws him out. LA Knight throws him out. Whoever it is throws him out, right? And then he has to earn a spot at Elimination Chamber or something like that.
Bro, you just gave me a brilliant idea, bro. Okay, LA Knight throws him out, right?
Yeah.
LA Knight wins the Rumble.
Yeah.
LA Knight challenges Seth Rollins instead. And then we have Damian Priest, cashing in his Royal Rumble, his Money in the Bank opportunity and making a triple threat, but it's for the world title. So I mean, keep the path clear for Cody and Reigns.
So some people have suggested that Senior Money in the Bank cash in for tag titles. I don't know if anybody should be that dumb to do that. I mean, I don't think anybody's character should be dumb enough to do that.
But isn't he already the world champion? Like, isn't he the tag team champions now?
As in they lose it lah, and then they immediately cash it in to like get Finn will be like, hey, come on, cash it in for us, let's do it, that kind of like pressure. But that would mean he never wins the big one, which kind of sucks, right?
Whatever happens, right? I feel like that should lead to like a feud between Damian and Finn somehow. But that kind of like big storytelling, like a huge betrayal or like a failure of a cash in should happen in Mania season. So again, it's fresh, but it's like a holding pattern for WWE still. Yeah.
So okay, let's move on then. In terms of the WWE stuff, let's talk a little bit about what has impressed lately in
okay, wait. That's gonna be a doozy. You're gonna jump into that, but then like, is there anything else from WWE that you guys want to talk about, or like you want to talk about Mr. Young before we go?
No, I'm good. I'm very happy watching my Raw and my Smackdown and whatnot. Do you know when the Kurt Angle documentary is coming out? Aren't they doing another Kurt Angle special?
Yeah, apparently they have added it on Peacock, so I'm also waiting for it to be uploaded. I heard a lot of good things about it, so it's not gonna be on WWE Network lah. It's gonna be like a Peacock special. So it's gonna be like becoming Cody Rhodes.
What? Okay, is it just me or has the WWE Network, the app, right? Like after they revamped it, first of all, it's damn hard to find anything. It feels like the new UI looks like shit, right? Okay. And Vince, don't cancel my stream, please. Because this, like, what is this? The first time I'm talking shit about WWE? No, but like, the freaking app is like very hard to navigate. The UI is dog shit, right? And like, a lot of these specials that they're doing are not coming to the WWE Network. So I'm like, why am I still paying for it? I guess only for the pay-per-views, the PLEs, excuse me.
Yeah, okay. H.S. Lee brought up a point. It's already online. Can you send us the link? Put it here on the chat.
Put it in our Discord. Div Royalty agrees. It's terrible. Can't find anything. I think the reason we can't find anything is because a lot of the stuff just doesn't show up there. For whatever strange reason, they hold it exclusively to the cock.
Yeah, I feel, and I wouldn't be wrong in saying this, that probably WWE is putting all their efforts in their Peacock collaborations. Yeah, they don't really care about the WWE Network anymore because it's technically for international partners, and they treat it like a repository. Like, I'm just uploading videos there. I'm not gonna like market it or whatnot.
But I wonder now that, okay, and I guess this would be the next talking point, right? Also, a lot of people are saying NXT better than AEW. Woo! Hey, talking about NXT. Okay, very quickly.
Okay, fine.
Let's talk about Braun Breaker decapitating Von Wagner.
Oh dear
Real
God.
quick.
It was funny. Okay, it was funny because when I saw it, the initial highlights, they cut to black, right?
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh my God, did they just kill him and all that kind of stuff? And
You know what? I didn't hate it. It was like, it's dramatic, it's storytelling, right? And then people upload, I saw the opposite angle footage, and then people got upset. I'm like, bro, you want him to really concuss him? Like, hey, chill, this is entertainment, Let them lean. At least this is not freaking somebody taking 10 chair shots in a row, and then they can get up like 5 minutes later. You know what I mean? Like the stuff on the other side. Like, at least they made one dangerous move. I mean, arguably dangerous. You know, the head position wrongly, let's say you could actually hit him, right?
Yep.
You do one dangerous thing and milk it and make it like a thing, as opposed to doing 10,000 things.
Well, at the end of the day, right? It's entertainment, sports entertainment. Like I didn't think Undertaker really buried Paul Heyman in concrete at Great American Bash 2004, right?
Well, Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer, yes, Paul Bearer. And it's all smoke and mirrors, right? It's like a magician doing his trick. But one thing I gotta say, right? I thought it was really well done because when I saw the opposite angle, Von Wagner had his head on top of the steel steps, but just as Braun Breaker was raising up the steps, he slid his head in between like the second rung of the steps, like the bottom rung of the steps. So that kind of created that space for Braun Breaker to be able to slam the thing and completely protect him, right? Got the space there. So it's smart.
First of all, but it's still gonna hurt because of the ringing, the sound, right? The clashing of the steps next to each other. But it's not as bad as if he actually put his head there. Also, the camera angle, you notice, wouldn't show him kind of moving. It was great presentation on TV. Of course, people from the other angle filming things, they are going to catch that lah. But I mean,
of course.
Like, again, it's pro wrestling, right? Like, what, you watch a movie, hey, this fella didn't shoot him for real lah. Like, come on.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, I feel like Braun Breaker, I think, needs this heel run to build up his, this side of his character. And as great as the angle was, right, I don't know why Von Wagner is the one that's the recipient of it. He's not really like the most popular thing on NXT, but I guess in the feud, whatever.
He is somewhat over, apparently, in the past past little bit. Fias is better than sticking satay stick in your head.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, I think let's move on and talk about our favorite subject, AEW.
Oh boy.
Okay. Oh. You know what? Can we start with something first, bro?
Sure.
Would you like to address some of the comments that our beloved Discord members, Gaddafi and Tovakin, wanted to propose to you? Do you read it?
Yes.
Because I tag you, bro.
Yeah, I read it. Let's talk about it when we talk about our next topic, when we talk about main event egos, because I think it all connects there. You know what I'm saying? And we'll get to that. Like, we'll get to that in just a little while. But you also have to refresh me on the comments being made by a bunch of marks. Anyway,
come on,
by the marks, by the young buck marks. Let's talk about AEW. Let's talk about Bryan Danielson. I guess that's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Where he insinuated that he was going to retire within a year, right? Like, his daughter turned 7, he wants to be there for her, which is great, right? And the dude deserves it, to be honest. But what does it mean? As much as I want to say, oh yeah, he's going to put over a lot of talent, right? You know what I think it means?
What?
It means that he's just going to have the matches he wants to have. And I don't know if it's going to be a good thing for, like, the technical wrestling purists. Like, he's going to have fun, right? But I think that he's shown that he's the type of guy, because he's such a nice guy, he'll just go along with whatever. Yeah. So will it push the business forward? I don't think so. I don't think he will do what CM Punk did in pushing numbers, in bringing in mainstream. The first match he announced, he's going to face Zack Sabre Jr., a pro wrestling purist wet dream. To mainstream audience, who the fuck? Who? Do you get where I'm going with this?
No, I get where you're going with this. I don't fault him though, because I feel
he deserves it. He deserves it.
Yeah, I feel like he's at the point of his career. He's like an age right now, right?
Yeah,
he just want to give back. He just want to have those matches that he never had a chance to do. So, I would even liken it to him because he's a dad, right? He's a father. His priorities is not to push the business to the stratosphere. He just wants to take the payday, not say take the payday, but he just wants to wrap up his career in a good way and focus on his family. So yeah.
It's not even about being a dad. He's never been that guy. it just so happens he was that guy in that specific moment, the yes movement. The stars aligned and he got pushed to that stratosphere. No, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I'm saying that it's just not even in his personality to be that guy. Whereas CM Punk is the guy I wanted to be the best. I want to push the business for. You know what I mean? We're dealing with personalities here, and we're kind of almost linking to the next topic we're going to talk about.
Yeah. I have an even better comparison, bro.
Okay.
I feel like CM Punk and Bryan Danielson is like Bret Hart and Owen Hart. Okay, hear me out.
Yes.
Bret Hart, CM Punk, because Bret Hart just wants to be the best.
Yep.
He's fixated on like being number one. Being a great professional, blah blah blah.
For better or for worse, yes.
Yes, incredibly talented, blah blah blah. Owen Hart, naturally gifted, technical purist dream, right? He just everything comes naturally to him. But if you know his story, know his character, he's a family man. He doesn't even enjoy the business. He just wants to be, be happy with the boys and then come home and be with his family. He talked about how he just wanted to like retire. He was building his dream home before he, tragically died, right? And I feel like, Bryan Danielson has a lot of hallmarks of what made Owen Hart the way he was. Owen Hart was never going to be the number one guy because the WWE never saw him as that guy who can carry and push the load or pull the bandwagon like a John Cena per se. But they acknowledge he's super talented. He has a spot, but we won't make him the guy.
Yep.
And I feel that's Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, and once again, there's nothing wrong with that, Not everybody needs to be the main event, the big John Cena superstar guy. And, kudos to him that he can do this, right? But, once again, does it mean that this would make for interesting AEW viewing? I don't think so. I think he's going to have his moments. He's going to have his matches on his terms. And, yeah.
Bro, Irvin's comment, bro.
Brian is like, Taman doesn't want...
What the heck?
That's the most random link, but okay.
I love the Singaporean context to that reference.
But once again, can we acknowledge Foreign with the wrestling historian links? Brett and Owen, that is a great connection right there when you talk about CM Punk and Bryan Danielson.
Bro, that's what I always say about the podcast, right? Come for Mister Young's hot takes, stay for Foreign's knowledge of the business. Okay?
Yes, let's go. Okay. Let's talk about the other thing that's somewhat interesting in AEW. MJF Samoa Joe.
Ooh,
okay. This is like just let them promo against each other every week, Ken.
Yeah, I love it. Did you watch the whole segment? They put up the whole segment on AEW's YouTube channel. Actually.
Yeah. I mean, these two can talk you into the building type lah. And they will touch on sensitive topics, and they are smart. See, here's the thing: these two are smart enough that yes, they know how to appeal to the insider crowd, the marks, the people who read the dirt sheets. But a lot of how they promo, right? Even if you have no idea of the backstory or like that, you can still get into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's almost, I think, right, they fell into the perfect storyline, right?
Sure,
when CM Punk left, CM Punk was feuding with Samoa Joe, and MJF had Adam Cole, but MJF, we always thought like eventually he will fight CM Punk, right? Because they both have the titles. But then in CM Punk leaving, right, I thought there was going to be this void, but I almost feel as if like Samoa Joe was like the perfect replacement no one really thought about, but there's already an inbuilt story there, between Samoa Joe and MJF that they could explore further. So I felt like it almost felt like a natural transition for Samoa Joe to fail in the capturing of the real world champion, but actually end up challenging for the actual world championship. So,
right.
But let me be clear there, the AEW was lucky they fell into that. It felt very, very lucky.
But bro, that's the thing with AEW, and we've talked about this since the beginning of time, right? They've fallen into a lot more than they've created. The only few people that have created great stories have been MJF, CM Punk. Everything else, they just fell into it. Chris Jericho maybe a little bit once or twice. Then after that, it's all downhill from there. And Cody Rhodes to a certain extent.
Can I also say something that you might not agree with, but I would like to say they actually have planned this out. I would argue that they actually played out even before the start of AEW, because their overall plan was to make Hangman Page their world champion, right? And I think that story of them building him up to that world title contendership was one of the stories that I felt like, okay, they did create something out of it, but again, the momentum fell after he became champion. So
yeah, and well, they flushed it all away in the subsequent months due to bad booking and well, just bad attitudes lah. So is MJF fully babyface already? I guess. I mean, it kind of came out of nowhere, and for all that I've read, it was literally a thing where they got put together and they are doing the best they can. You give good talent the leeway and the time to shine, and that's exactly what they'll do, and that's what MJF did. That's what CM Punk did.
You know what? I like that he's having this babyface run, but I almost feel like it's like a borrowed time kind of run. Like,
oh yeah,
he is being a babyface temporarily because eventually he's gonna be the real scumbag that we all know he is. And I would even argue that Samoa Joe is gonna bring out that real scumbag in him.
Oh, okay, okay. Sure. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. When is their next pay-per-view?
Okay, they're gonna have, right now they're in the midst of another tournament for Grand Slam. And I think the winner of that tournament will challenge MJF, I believe, in Full Gear, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. But all I know is right now, MJF and Samoa Joe, there is something there. I feel like they can have a great rivalry. I also feel like Roderick Strong being in the mix in the tournament,
with the neck brace
with the neck brace, doing a Bob Orton Senior, right? I really feel like they have a lot of stories that can be told, and I think they're telling that story right now. Because if I'm not wrong, Roderick Strong and Samoa Joe is the finals of that tournament. So where does Adam Cole play into all of this? I think there's some sort of intrigue right there.
Sure. Yeah, no, and definitely is one of the quote-unquote it is the high point of Dynamite, because if you think about it, right, what else is there? Like, that really right now is...
Okay. I want to talk about something else that happened on Dynamite that I thought that you might be interested in.
Okay.
Did you see Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland's promo as well?
No, of course not.
Okay. Yeah, I'm surprised as well. I'm really surprised because clearly, Hangman Page didn't do jack shit at all out. He just won some over budget battle royal, and apparently he won $50,000 and he donated it to charity. So okay,
sure,
cool. But then so Strickland came out, right? So came out with Prince Nana, his Mogul Embassy, and I like Prince Nana because he's twerking his ass off during his entrance. So that was entertaining. But yeah, so Strickland suddenly come in like, and so I never actually took So Strickland's promo ability for granted, because I feel like he thinks that Hangman Page has gone complacent.
Okay.
He thinks that Hangman Page has gone lazy because, like, what the hell are you doing at the 0 hour of All Out? 2 years ago you used to be the world champion. Now you're just content riding the coattails of the Elite. You never even had a singles match for so long, and then say, you just re-sign a contract, and I don't think you deserve it. And like, you're eating good, and it's showing. And then he pointed his belly. Oh, it's showing indeed. Yeah. And then basically he's saying that if I got the opportunities that you've been handed to you, I would have been the first Black AEW World Champion by now. Right? So there was a bit of like, okay, I see where this is going. So basically, I think Swerve's point of view is that he has his issue with Hangman, but it's kind of overall his issue with the Elite's so-called ruling of the company because of the fact that they are the founders, right?
Right.
Yeah, so basically call him out on Hangman shit lah. Everything that CM Punk would probably have said backstage, but he actually said to his face, or he mimicked whatever it is. And I feel like if one thing that is good out of, like, CM Punk leaving, a lot of people have to step up, right? Yeah. And I feel those people that has been underappreciated all this while would step up and get their chance. And I think So Strickland could be one of them.
You know what? I think we've always said that Swerve Strickland was, very talented in terms of, like, his time on NXT. And then, he left, and then they tried to replicate Hit Row, and, it's shit row. No, it's unique.
Bad.
Yeah, Swerve was Hit Row, right?
Oh, dear God.
Okay, so, yeah, that sounds like something I will go and check out on YouTube, or I should.
Check out the promo,
yeah. Anything else?
Okay, well...
did you watch Collision, by the way?
I did, and I tried.
I don't think anybody watched Collision, but that's a different story altogether.
Let's talk about Collision's ratings last week, right?
To be fair, they had to go up against Payback, which is another hurdle.
It is a hurdle, and I feel like when they got up head to head against SummerSlam like last month, they did have a drop, right? But they still had like about 425,000, blah, 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 around there.
Yep.
But Collision last week started the show around 425,000, blah, blah, blah. But then the moment, did you guys hear it? The moment Tony Khan had the announcement at the top of the show,
Yep.
by the second quarter, it just rose. It just nosedive, right?
By the end of it, I think they were at Rampage level. So, I mean, okay, it's a one-off. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it was other things. Maybe it was other sporting events, whatever. We can't use one result, and I will give them that, right? We can't use one result. We'll have to wait and watch the next couple of episodes to see if that trend continues. Because if Collision becomes another Rampage, becomes like Dynamite, like we've talked about this before, right? Dynamite's trajectory usually is they start high and they go down. They never go up. Once in a while they do, yes, if they have some crazy like War Games style Blood and Guts main event, sure, they'll go up, right? People will get interested. But by and large, they cannot retain their audience. Collision, the CM Punk version of Collision, could always maintain. It was like, a standard.
I would argue they even built their audience throughout the show because I think they knew how to format it in such a way that, okay, I'm going to build intrigue at the starting opening segment and people are going to stay to watch the main event that was built.
Correct.
I had no idea what happened this past week's episode because I just watched like clips of it and I saw the main event was Samoa Joe and Penta. And I think that was like a qualifying match in this tournament. So let's be really, really honest, right? Like we all know Collision was built for CM Punk, right?
Yep.
Even the networks demanded it or networks created this show, gave him this time slot and put CM Punk as the number one guy, right? So now the biggest selling point of CM Punk is over. Let's not talk about how he will do, right? We will probably know how he will do. But if you put on your GM cap, Mr. Young, now that CM Punk is a non-factor, he can't be on this show. What would you do to keep people watching Collision then?
Wow. See, it's not a one. Here's the thing. The reason why Collision was good is not that it was because CM Punk was on the show as in he's the main star. It's because, he had input in formatting the show. It was the format of the show and it showed, right? Like you talked about, like, you had the build intrigue right from the start, pay off at the end. So you keep people staying there. So the question is, will they be able to book it the same way, or will the elite influence start creeping in again? Then all of a sudden, Jack Perry show up, Hangman Page show up, that group, and then it starts becoming this whole thing of like, it becomes, they just anyhow do whatever they want to do, which is what they've been doing on Dynamite for the longest time.
Okay, so are you saying as long as they still keep those people away from Collision, they keep like Hangman, Bucks, whatever, John Moxley, whoever, Chris Jericho, and then still keep the show revolving around like Ricky Starks, Bullet Club Cole,
Bryan Danielson
could be the so-called figurehead that replaces.
Yeah, so it's not so much about the figurehead of CM Punk. It's just the culture that he brought in to just do a proper wrestling show that will maintain the audience throughout, right?
Yeah, okay. So I think maybe what you're saying is like if they can still really deliver that realistic action, like we saw in those matches like with Buddy Matthews and Andrade. Fuck, give us Gunther check cable equivalent every day or every week on Collision, right?
Like good wrestling, people who don't make a mockery of the sport by getting up after 5 Canadian destroyers. Like stuff that doesn't embarrass the sport.
So I'm hoping Samoa Joe is still there, right? I hope Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson.
But Samoa Joe is going to be on Dynamite because he's working a program at MJF, and MJF is the AEW champion. He needs to be on Dynamite, right?
Well, but I don't mind MJF, Adam Cole coming to, Collision once in a while because I feel like they also pop a number and a rating.
Yeah.
But okay, would you accept a Young Bucks match on Collision, but with somebody like a FTR?
Would I accept? What do you mean by would I accept?
I don't know about you. You say you want good serious wrestling, right? But the Young Bucks are there.
then we won't have good serious wrestling. Look, okay, I joke about that, but like it's sort of like the mentality, though. You know what I mean? It's like they can do it. It's just they don't want to do it only. They just want to do things their way and, just, this is how we've done it. It's worked for us, so let's just do it that way, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I will be very honest. I have my biases, right? You know, everyone knows I'm a CM Punk fan, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows, right? I've only quit Fight TV twice so far in my whole AEW viewing experience. Can you guess which are those 2 times?
When he got injured and when he got fired.
Yeah. So when he got injured the first time and they suspended him, I'm like, fuck, I ain't watching. I'm not gonna watch Dynamite or Fight TV, I just watch it online. And then literally, right, I kid you not, I just switched on Collision. I watched it last week, and then the first segment, Tony Khan say CM Punk's not gonna be on this show. I literally, after that segment, it was live. I remember Sunday morning, I was like, fuck this shit. I just canceled my subscription. And I just watched the highlights right after. So that is my biases showing, right?
Sure.
But before we segue...
But not just you, though. The numbers bear it out. The fact that immediately after he made that announcement, the ratings went straight off a cliff. Yeah, there were some people who stuck around because they wanted to see what was going to happen on the show anyway. But it will be very interesting to see the next couple of weeks and how their ratings... Does it start low because people are like, okay, we are not coming back because there's no CM Punk.
This past Sunday, I think will be very, very evident, like how they're doing without it. And before we segue, and I wanted to like post you the exact quote, like the questions that, you know, the comments that our dearly beloved friends on our Discord said and asked. I want to make it clear, right? I'm a fan of CM Punk.
Yeah.
But I watched AEW from the start. Yeah. Right? Yeah, from the moment they announced like the Elite say, okay, they're gonna do a promotion, I was so excited. I remember, right, bro? I remember I was sitting here in this room, watching the first Double or Nothing, right?
Yeah.
And I got good goosebumps, bro.
Bro, remember when you talk about you, but like remember when we were so excited about like how there was a period where WWE was just like fucking boring. And AEW was picking up the slack, and we were like, man, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan because, you know, if one side is the shits, at least AEW was creating, you know, remember when we were hyped about how Hangman Page was actually getting, getting a lot of momentum. Remember that period?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I think,
for sure.
I think, and you know, people want to talk about tribalism and all that. I think their tribalism is showing. I think that because they are so married to that form of entertainment, and there is also this like, oh, we hate the WWE, and you know, part of it is the WWE's fault, right? They've sort of built that reputation as being the big evil corporate empire for such a long time already. And I guess, are we just segueing straight into the next thing?
Yeah, for sure. I think we can.
I think because one of the things that somebody had an issue with is the fact that, oh, you know, WWE also got cronyism, what? Because yes, last week that was the word.
You know what? Let's pull out the exact quotes because I know Mr. Young. Mr. Young is such a social media marketer, right? He doesn't want to address the comments.
No. You gotta watch. You gotta watch the show. You gotta watch the show.
He just kept quiet. And then he was like,
because you know, here's the other thing. You know what? It's easy to put something down into a text. You can sit there, you can stew on it, you can type, you can research 10,000 things. But you know, come on the show and talk, and see whether your arguments hold up.
Okay, let's okay. So, okay, but just to be clear, right? Shout out to Gaddafi. Shout out to Toverkin, right? Toverkin's been on our party last year. Met him, great guy.
Every time I see him, I disturb him about the Young Bucks.
He always wear his Young Bucks shirt. He took a photo with you, I remember.
Purposely one.
Yeah. And I appreciate Gaddafi a lot. You know why or not? Remember last season or a few seasons ago when my internet connection was shit? I'm sure our fans will know what we're talking about. Gaddafi, right? Solid guy. You know what he did? He bought me internet adapter. He actually came to my house to pass it to me, you know, bro. Bro, legit, bro. So I'm like, okay, this guy is cool and he plays basketball and I think he's, you know, like he's a happily married man, settled down.
Sure.
It's a proper. I mean,
what does that even mean, bro? What are you trying to say?
No, because when you say like when you think of like what you say Young Bucks fan or what, you keep thinking like they are in the basement somewhere, got no life.
Hey,
you know,
I never made that assumption. Like, you are the one who made that assumption. Okay,
no,
I'm just calling it as it is.
That's not the point. Okay, the point is I like Gaddafi. Gaddafi is cool. He went to AEW All In. He sent us footage from the show at Wembley. He's cool, right? Okay, so this is what he said on the Discord. So for those without the benefit of being on our Discord channel, this is what he said. And if you want to have more such interesting conversations, please join us. Okay, Mr. Young, please do a plug for our Discord while I read the comments.
Yes, the Discord link is in the comments, in the description. Come join us for all kinds of interesting conversations. Go ahead.
All right. So this is the first. I would say. I would say it's very interesting. It's a very combative response to our hot takes. I think it's probably the first time somebody called us out on our shit. Okay, so Gaddafi said, "Wow, the podcast." Referring to last week's comments we made, lots of assumptions that have since been debunked, like CM Punk being picked up, etc., making it seem like it's been a shit show. But the product says otherwise, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, first of all, okay, there you go.
Okay,
that's his opinion. There? Yeah, that's his opinion.
All right. I'm glad CM Punk is gone. Less drama, the better. And focus on the stories and wrestling instead. And cronyism. Lol. WWE was cronyism. Okay,
first of all, we never once said that WWE never had cronyism. This assumption that we are saying, oh, WWE is a paragon of virtue. Vince McMahon is Jesus and Stephanie McMahon is the mother. Like, what? When did we ever say that? You know what I mean? It's never been. See, here's the thing. The assumption is always because I shit on AEW a lot, right? People forget that I shit on WWE also. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Go back to before AEW was a thing. So, okay, fine, whatever, right? Cronies, because we were talking about the CM Punk, Young Bucks, that whole situation. Yep. And I'm sorry, but that smacked of cronyism, did it not? And let's look, fine, you want to bring up WWE as an example, you have the Clique, you have WCW, you have Hogan and that group as well, right? Mm-hmm. Every company will have it. You know, it's just an unfortunate thing of life. But here's the thing. The Clique all drew money. All brought in viewers. Hogan brought in numbers. NWO brought in numbers. They were main event stars. So, in a way, Eric Bischoff, Ted Turner, Vince McMahon, they're like, close one eye. You can kind of get it, right? Mm-hmm. CM Punk and Young Bucks, the elite. Forget about Young Bucks, the elite. Tell me who draws.
Cody Rhodes.
Oh gosh. But you know what I mean? Like, you want to talk about cronyism, fine. Like I said, nobody ever once said that WWE is free of cronyism. I think there's a lot less of it now. And we can see it in the product, right? And here's the other thing, professionalism. That's this week's word, professionalism. There's way more professionalism in the WWE in 2023 than there is in AEW. And, you know, it shows, right? You don't have a Hangman Page coming out and trying to drop a pipe bomb when he's just basically bitching about this other guy. You don't have their guys sort of... I mean, you probably have people leaking to the dirt sheets, but come on. We all know that the Young Bucks and Dave Meltzer, they're like, you know, they're real tight. And all of a sudden, there's always leaks. There's always, like, who is leaking shit to the dirt sheets? We know what.
I mean, you brought up very valid points, but I think in that regard, right, you also would agree that if WWE is a paragon of so-called professionalism compared to AEW at this point in time...
wait. I never said they are not a paragon.
Okay. I'm not paraphrasing your words.
Their product is a lot more professional.
Yes, correct. So, given that scenario, and let's be clear, regardless of my thoughts of CM Punk, what he did wasn't professional.
No, it was not. But I understand it in that he was, to quote him, sick. He's old and what was it? Old and cranky, and he's tired of dealing with kids.
Yeah, I'm old, tired, and sick of dealing with children. Yeah,
like, you know, like I think every one of us can relate to that to some degree.
And for sure.
Okay, let me put it this way. This wouldn't happen if the elite weren't backed by a billionaire. See, this all goes. See, at the end of the day, this all still goes back to the two letters TK. It all goes back to Tony Khan because he is enabling this behavior.
That's the word, right? It's not he's not setting the culture. He's enabling the culture.
Yeah,
whatever the culture is.
Yeah, he lets them do whatever they want. And look, this is not something new. Their quote unquote clique or whatever you don't like the word cronyism, cliquism, whatever you want to say. It was in New Japan. It was in Impact. We've read about it all. So it is now the worst because you have a billionaire backing you on a national television broadcast show, right?
And also another thing is because when he joined up with all these people and he proposed AEW, right, he did make it clear that, you know, this is gonna be, we're not gonna have put restrictions on you. We're gonna let you be as creative as you wanna be. He gave them the platform to kind of be who they wanna be, right?
Yeah.
For better or for worse, right?
Well, look at, you know what? Forget about, let's say, okay, all of us know nothing because we do not work there, right?
Yeah.
I will gladly admit to that. All this is based on stuff we read online.
Yeah.
Look at the product. Look at who's drawing. What is the most memorable thing you can think of in terms of the Young Bucks in AEW's run?
Okay, so that's why I wanted to like kind of counter what Gaddafi said, because Gaddafi said like the product says otherwise, at least in my opinion, right? He's trying to say that CM Punk, whatever we talk about CM Punk, whether it's true or not, has been debunked or not, we made it sound like it's a shit show. But she says that the product says otherwise, right?
Wait, it is a shit show if you can't get your main star to the arena. How is it not a shit show? What? I mean, I'm sorry, but like, I'm like, you are supposed to be a billionaire running a billionaire company. You think Ronaldo is taking a taxi to the stadium? Like what? You think John Cena? You think even like friggin' Roman Reigns is taking the bus to
even the Grab XL also not worth it, bro.
Yeah, like what the? Like I don't care if it's it's not just CM Punk. Other people had transportation issues. Well, then they should fix it because that's a shit show.
Okay, then what about the point that he's glad that CM Punk is gone, less drama the better, rather focus on the stories and wrestling instead? Do you think that's gonna happen with AEW?
We look AEW's track record, right? All we have to do is look at that. The people who have a mind for wrestling will shine. The rest will just do what they do. The indie mindset stuff, they'll continue to do it. And people who like that stuff will like that stuff no matter what. And it's never going to be mainstream. And maybe that's okay because it makes people who love that stuff feel like, oh, I am tapped into something special. I'm part of this club, this group. It's like when... Oh, I don't listen to Nickelback because I know this random indie band that's sold 5 CDs, right? And I'm so special because I know them. They are so cool. Nickelback sucks because, they're too mainstream already. Evil Empire. Like, that's a terrible... But you get my point.
Yeah, CM Punk and Nickelback, I didn't know they were going to be the same sentence.
Okay.
The part about there will be less drama. Will that be the case?
No. Because there will always be somebody who wants to stand up and do good business. And the only way there will be no drama is if everybody does things the Young Bucks way. And then that's all we'll see. Best of 5, flippy floppy matches,
Is that what it is, right? Like they were called All Friends Wrestling at the start because everyone was kumbaya, everyone was happy.
Yeah.
Because everybody kind of like aligned with what they set out, right? The EVP set out, doing all this kind of like, they call it the PWG style of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And is it because of once people were like, nah, I don't want to do this, or I want to do my own thing, and then that's where the friction started, like FTR coming into play,
correct,
whatnot.
But you see, FTR, Daniel Bryan, they just quiet play along because they are at that point in their career they don't care. Not say don't care, but
they don't want to bother with all this drama as well.
Yeah, right? So you are enabling, TK that is enabling a culture where the dominant clique runs the show and everyone just like smile and nod, and they're not advancing the business. They are not going to be the product that gets people's eyeballs. WWE is, right? And we always go back to, look, as it is, being a wrestling fan is tough. Because, people... We all know this. People who don't watch wrestling, you try to show it to them, they go, oh, what is this fake shit, right? Yeah. At least, I'm not saying all WWE matches are perfect examples, but at least when you show them like freaking Logan Paul Ricochet, you show them Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, right? At least you can sell them on the idea, correct? Yeah. Versus satay sticks to the head, 5 Canadian destroyers, and then the fella pop back up. People like, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, they want them fixed, yeah. Like that's my whole thing. Pro wrestling what is pro wrestling? It is the simulation of a fight. It's the performance of a fight. Let me shout out Greg, as in N-Boss Greg from Grapple Max. He said that one time, I'm like, that's the perfect way to describe pro wrestling. It is the simulation. It's the performance of a fight. And Oh, yeah, fireworks shoe. I mean, no, explosive sneaker. Don't forget. Look, I didn't hate the explosive sneaker, to be honest with you. But that should have killed the guy and ended the match.
Yeah, that should have been the end of the match. I don't know how he continued like a few more moves after that, bro.
Right. So it's like, okay, and I know another point was brought up. Oh, we should just celebrate wrestling. Wrestling is for everybody, all kinds of wrestling. You mean to tell me?
Let me read out the context in full
go ahead.
that you don't take it out of context. Okay, so after that, Tovakin added on, he said, this reference to this hot take. I'm fine calling a spade, but to say like only AEW does this is pure bias. Sorry, not sorry. I think we've already addressed that. When you're not talking about just AEW, right?
You know what? This is selective hearing, and we all do it. I do it sometimes as well, right?
Yeah, I think Young, you also even pointed it out because what he said was WWE does it less so today, but the whole company was built on that. You did already address the clique. Yeah, you said all those things, right?
Hey, Tovakin, how are you? Tovakin is in chat.
Perfect. We are just talking shit about you. Yeah. Just kidding. Yeah. So he said that even though WWE does less of it today, the whole company was built on that. And I don't disagree with him.
No,
right?
no,
I
absolutely
think all wrestling companies was built on some sort of
clique.
like this clique culture or like backbiting, politicking, blah blah blah. Right?
All companies, well, this is not even talk about wrestling. It's like every industry ever known. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it is what it is. But go ahead.
Yeah, and we are talking about the specific situation with AEW, and that is true. There is some sort of culture there. Okay, this is the part where Gaddafi, he says Young Bucks might be EVPs, but they don't run the company fully. There's Tony and a few others that do that, but sure they have more input.
I mean, you just said your like what's the point though? Like, yeah, they have Tony Khan's ear. They are not qualified to do other roles because they are wrestlers. I don't get what the point there is.
I think he's trying to defend the fact that we keep blaming Young Bucks for everything that's wrong with the company.
Okay, then we've also said that Tony Khan is the main problem, right, for enabling this.
Okay. So his next point is, I listen to the Ringer wrestling podcast. I do listen to the Ringer as well sometimes. Okay. Not one of them worked in WWE backstage for quite a bit, and they tend not to compare AEW and WWE as much. A more balanced view might be good, but then again, mainstream equals WWE, and that's the main audience, I guess, for KTTG.
Okay. What's again,
your thoughts on that? Yeah.
We cover both, right? And we just see. Here's the thing: we react to what we see, what we read, and like I don't get the point here. Like, read the next line.
His point is he would prefer a more balanced view.
Well, what is a balanced view though? Like every time WWE has done something stupid, we've called it out, right? So how more balanced do you like? I'm not blind when I see something stupid. When somebody's exploding shoe hits a person's face and the person is not dead, like that's some bullshit.
I'm pretty sure we shit on Ray's eye popping out by Seth Rollins as well when it happened, right?
See, there's the thing that. What it is selective hearing because I have offended your little clique, your little like, oh my precious, right? Oh, you are the anti-AEW. Like, no, bro, remember when we were talking good about AEW, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay, to be fair, yes, even though, actually, you know what, Mr. Young, for some reason, I'm always the one defending you, but it's actually, I'm very balanced, but I'm pretty sure, Mr. Young, you have your hot takes, and it is what it is, right? And we might have even driven some people away when we call them out on like, oh yeah, some of the Japanese style of wrestling. Remember, you always talk about the forearms and like, you said like, making fun of flippy shit, and that has driven audiences, like, or some listeners who even message me like, oh, I like listening to you guys, but you guys talk so much about flippy shit, I don't want to listen to you guys anymore. Sure. Which is okay, fine. And I think I respect people's opinion if they don't want to listen it. But let's talk about the last quote that he said. This tribalism isn't great, I guess. Celebrate all wrestling, saw this sign. It's a good time to be a fan and for wrestlers too. Lots of work for them available.
Okay, sure. I mean, you have a billionaire funding wrestlers to do their thing. That's great. But here's my take on that, right? You have a situation. Okay, think about it like this. Sure, it's great that everyone loves wrestling. There's more wrestling, more avenues. Okay, let me think of an example. let's all celebrate pizza. So many different pizzerias. There's good pizza, there's bad pizza. Do you want to go and celebrate the shit pizza? If I were to make a pizza for you, and it's just the worst pizza you've ever tried, you want to celebrate that as well? I mean, is it wrong to point out that this pizza tastes like shit?
Yeah, there's also a fine line between, yes, this pizza is shit, and like, this is not my kind of taste. I don't enjoy seafood, but if you like seafood, that's your thing. Right?
That's great for you, right?
Yeah, but I think where we come from is like, where if it's shit, it's shit. If it's good, it's good. We'll just say it as it is.
Yeah.
And if it's and again, to Burkin's point, not all of it is Young Bucks' fault. I agree, because I don't think Young Bucks like he. Sorry, I keep thinking back of CM Punk's comment. They can't even manage a target. And then I laugh to myself, right? Because that's the case, right? I don't think Young Bucks can force people to do what they want to do or what they don't want to do. No. They can influence, they can.
But see, okay, here's the thing. Yeah, that's the word. They can politic. And this, I think, is very slimy. This is the cronyism part that I didn't like. Right? Once again, not saying that WWE never had. We've talked about this before. Shawn Michaels used to be a complete D-bag.
Shawn Michaels equals cronyism, bro.
Exactly, right? Triple H, that whole and we'll talk about that in just a little while because we want to get into the mega egos. But that's the point. We're calling a spade in that this whole situation broke down. A, because Tony Khan didn't do his job, and B, because you had one group with all their friends trying to push out. Whether it's because they feel threatened, because this guy didn't want to do things their way, it is, you cannot argue that they didn't have a hand in this whole thing getting set off. You know what I mean? If Hangman Page never did that stupid promo, if Jack Perry didn't turn to the camera and run his mealy mouth, right? Nothing would have happened. You know what I mean? Everything is on an edge already. And because Tony Khan didn't do anything about it, that's why everything is on an edge. So, like, let's say if you had nothing but Daniel Bryan's or nothing but CM Punk's, I think they could do business.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have a bunch of friends who just want to be with their friends and do their friends wrestling.
Well, at the end of the day, I feel like when CM Punk first joined the company, I still remember there was a Being the Elite episode where CM Punk was featured there, and everyone was getting along well. I think Young Bucks and CM Punk even took photos together. Like it was still kumbaya, which is incredible to think like now 2 years later, right? But they felt that there was like some sort of shared value there. There's a mission to like make AEW really good. I don't know what happened along the way that caused the relationship to like falter. And a lot of people might say, it's CM Punk's fault. He's such a disruptive character, or he has bitch feet, or blah blah blah. So far I've seen him reacting to situations where he's being fucked over. I've not seen, maybe it will come out later in the future that he did rub people the wrong way, or he did say things, or he did cause trouble. But so far, it's always been things that happen that push him over the edge and make him react in the way that he does.
Yeah. So, I mean, it could be said that the Young Bucks are just very smart in that they played this, or maybe they're just being them and they pissed off CM Punk through no extra action of their own. Whatever the case may be, there's no disputing that these things happen because of, like trigger events, canon events, if you will.
Yes, I would say it's canon events, right? Because remember when somebody convinced us to watch a Young Bucks versus the Elite Golden
Lovers. Yeah,
Ring of Honor, right? And we had our fun with the match, and we actually enjoyed it to a certain extent.
It was New Japan.
It was in New Japan, right? Researchers, if I'm not wrong. But anyway, the point is we did enjoy what they could offer us.
Yeah.
In I would say it was in a vacuum, perhaps.
Yeah, in the context of that match, I mean, obviously we didn't know what the promo was leading up to it, that kind of thing, but it was a good match.
Yeah. And of course, if without the Young Bucks, without Kenny Omega, the Elite, the AEW wouldn't exist. And we might forget now, but in 2017, 2018, they literally were the hottest thing in pro wrestling, beyond whatever WWE was doing. Whatever that happened with Bullet Club in New Japan was literally a hot thing, right? And they created the buzz for themselves, so no one can take that away from the Young Bucks, right?
No.
But I think it's like what you said, right? It's more of when you see a magic trick so many times, it loses the appeal that the specialness that it felt at the beginning.
I go back to the same point I've made since the beginning of AEW, right? They work an indie style and it works for them. Kudos to them, because you don't see them that often. Now on an episodic television show, it doesn't work, and they're starting to realize it, and they're starting to realize that their position in the company is being quote unquote like, oh, okay, you can't get it done, then maybe you're not as effective, blah blah blah, whatever, I don't know, But the point is that they haven't proven to be ratings draws. CM Punk has. And Tony Khan as a boss, knowing that, I'm not saying he should let CM Punk run everything. Like, sure, yeah, you got to defer to the Young Bucks a little bit, right? But to not discipline in that, okay, he suspended them, whatever, basically a paid holiday, right? But to fire CM Punk and not to do something about Jack Perry in a bigger way, like, what is Jack Perry? He's not even a mid-carder for crying out loud, you let him make you fire your main draw. And he can do it. Why? He's a billionaire. So at the end of the day, if he doesn't have money at stake, like he knows he got the billions to fall back on, then he's never going to change, right? Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, this is a debate that will never be resolved until the end of AEW's time, which is when Daddy says no anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And we are still waiting for that big nuclear bomb to drop after this, bro. Everyone in the wrestling world is waiting for what CM Punk is going to say next. Or going to do next, right?
Or this could be the greatest work ever perpetrated on the wrestling business. I still, at like 1% of me is like, is this the greatest work ever?
Then if that happens, then will you say like, you know what? I give my hands up, CM Punk, Young Bucks, you guys did it.
Yeah, of course, 100%. Because this would be the greatest work ever perpetrated on the wrestling business.
Oh dear God. Hey, so who's have some nice things to say about Mr. Young for once, bro?
Hey, what? People have nice things to say about me all the time, man. But Div, you're right. AEW just needs more solid leadership. They have the talents, right? They have the Miros and the CJ. Oh, hey, can we very quickly talk about CJ Perry's promo?
Oh, you saw it.
Yes.
Collision, right?
I saw it on Instagram. Where were these promo skills this whole time?
She can talk.
Holy shit! I was like, okay, well, now I'm invested.
You know what? She actually has acting. She got acting experience. Well, she was in what's that show? Pitch Perfect. She was in a movie. What? Pitch Perfect. Did you know that? You didn't know?
No, I did not know. But okay.
Watch Pitch Perfect 1. She was in one of the background singers in the group. Like,
okay. Maybe because it was a produced segment. Maybe like in the ring live promo, that one a bit cha-cha. But I don't know. Hey, maybe she's been taking acting classes. Whatever it is, I watched that promo. I was like, okay, well, now I'm interested to see what this... I just hope it's not another cuckolding thing again, okay? Like...
Nah.
With the Bobby Lashley, remember that shit? Yeah, it better not be that.
They better not suddenly say that, oh my God, the Hobbs is with Lana or what. Bobby Lashley Miro situation lah, but no, I hope not. But you know what? Yeah, I actually saw that clip. I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna repost this, man. This was really impressive, right? Again, that's what it is, right? You need to have Miro being given a prominent role. People need to step up. Like, okay, as much as CM Punk leaving sucks, it's like Bret Hart leaving sucks. I thought it's gonna be the end of the world for the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
I thought it's gonna be the end of the world, but then the Attitude Era came, right?
Yeah.
So in every setback, there is an opportunity there, but it just remains to be seen what AEW can do to capitalize on this, right?
I mean, hopefully somebody steps up, like your MJFs, your...
Samoa Joe, come on. You make it sound like a nobody there.
No, well, I mean, okay, Samoa Joe, but he's on the decline of his career.
Okay,
really. Let's be real, right?
I tell you 5 people that they can build a company around, right? MJF, right?
Yes.
Ricky Starks, come on.
Sure.
They can build around Will Hobbs. I still think Will Hobbs has the potential. They can build around Miro. They can build around Jay White, Bullet Club Go.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I feel like they have not been stained by the booking as badly as other people. Where like, you know what, no chance. No, I still think all these 5 people still can carry AEW. I mean, of course, if MJF leaves to go to WWE, then go buy AEW. There's no reason to watch anymore.
But you know what I mean? Like, just to watch these glimpses, we have to sit through Dark Order. We have to sit through, like, I don't know, Aussie Open. Okay, maybe they're not that bad, but like, it's
Aussie
like
Open is good, yeah.
no freaking promo, no build. Like, I'm not talking about bad wrestlers. I'm talking about, well, okay, I am talking about bad wrestlers, but like, people with no build, no stories. You talk about like, focus on the stories moving ahead. Like, what stories? The booking has been shit. It's been short-term booking,
Yeah, that's what I mean. And I think Hales put out a great point. Like, there's no future thinking. You think government development is basically, if Singapore government was running the wrestling, I think it's more like WWE. It's not AEW. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that. I mean, even you said it, right? Like, they had a 3-year plan, but then now after 3 years, it's like it looks like they got no plan.
Anything goes, right?
Yeah, it's like anything. Once again, it's the inmates running the asylum, and they think they want to claim they got long-term plan, but actually it's just okay, we feel whatever. It's an indie mindset. It's like indie wrestlers going from town to town. Okay, what are we doing tonight? Okay, let's do this. Okay, cool. It seems like that's how they're running their shows, by and large, except for certain cases of people who know what they're doing.
I know people like Chris Jericho, they said it on their own podcast, saying that he likes to write 8 weeks of television for every storyline he does.
Sure.
And actually, right, for all his flaws and whatever shit he puts out on AEW, you do see most of his rivalries have a week-to-week progression, right?
Yeah, like there's a start and a finish, right?
Yeah. Before he moves on to the next people.
Yeah, with a lot of these other quote-unquote elite people, it's like stop, start, and kind of goes nowhere. But at the end of it, I guess to put a bow on it, right? Look, AEW is up there. You can't help but compare it to the WWE. Like, literally, they are there on national television. They are supposed to be an alternative, right? And if they are going to do a product that is, to me, like I said, I find it very hard to justify watching it's easy if you are a diehard fan and you don't care and you live in that bubble. But if you're like, all right, let's spread the word of pro wrestling, AEW will never be the show that I show people. AEW will never be the example.
I will show a CM Punk segment from AEW. I will show MJF. I think MJF and Adam Cole really, make themselves look really, really good at Hot Ones. This YouTube segment that they did to promote All In. In small segments, I would show like Jade Cargill as like this badass looking girl.
Well, if you can still find her, if you can find her, no, wait, what is she doing now?
Wait, you didn't know. She returned. She returned at Collision. Actually, it's Collision. I think this past weekend in Collision. Yeah. Well, Okay. Okay, but anyway,
it's not gonna get me to watch the show.
No, I don't. You're not gonna watch it for Collision. Okay, but let's just transition a bit to our next segment, and I think the whole point of this week's podcast talking about main event egos, because clearly the fallout of CM Punk is reminiscent of so many issues throughout history. Like so many people who are a bit like him, a bit of a renegade, a bit of somebody who likes to rattle the cage a bit,
stir the pot, have a bit of an ego. But like, with that being said, right, sometimes it's a justified ego. You know what I mean? As in, yes, they know their value, they know their worth, and therefore they will not put themselves beneath, which you can respect, right? Not everyone is going to be a Daniel Bryan. Not everyone's going to be who's like super
accommodating,
nice guy.
Like a John Cena accommodating.
Well, no, John Cena was probably pretty, politicking before then. See, at every level, there is some level of it. You know what? Everyone's...
I would argue you can't become a top star if you don't have that in you.
No, exactly. That's exactly it. Those that like don't really care to do it, they will just be there, and maybe once in a while they will get their chance to shine, like your Daniel Bryans, for example, Bryan Danielson's, right? Because the crowd determined it.
I have the perfect example of a guy who don't give a fuck. Rob Van Dam.
Oh yeah. No, that is exactly it, right? Because he didn't care. It wasn't his goal to be, and that is absolutely fine.
Yeah, and Rob Van Dam carved a great career for himself, and he will always be beloved by fans. But you realize something, right?
What?
He was never the top guy.
No, I mean for a while. No, he was the top guy when the situation fitted. When he won the title against John Cena at One Night Stand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is like the company won't trust him to pull the bandwagon in a way because he doesn't show. People will say like, oh, he doesn't have the hunger to be the top guy. But some people just don't want that drama and stress and try to backstab each other to get to the top. You know?
I mean, just very quick comparison, just to put things in perspective, right? Like, for all that we've said, think about the Elite, for example, right? Think about the Elite, now think about the Clique. The Clique, on one side, you have all main event stars that have at some point drawn money, right? Look at the Elite.
Okay, I mean, wait. Okay, let me be the mediator here.
Sure.
I would say Kenny Omega did sell out New Japan.
Sure,
I think he helped contributed to a lot of record sales for business in terms of New Japan. But it was Chris Jericho entering New Japan that created the buzz. And people watch Wrestle Kingdom. I know a lot of people, including you, who signed up to the New Japan World just to watch that match, right?
Yeah.
So I would argue, even though Kenny Omega is a draw within Japanese circles, I wouldn't say he has crossed over to be a huge draw in North America, perhaps, right? Not there yet. Chris Jericho definitely is a draw. We won't deny that.
Yeah, of course.
He is. The Young Bucks, I would say, was create a lot of notoriety and the buzz from their Bullet Club run, from their selling of shirts, Hot Topic, making fun of FTR.
Sure.
Fuck the revival, blah, blah, blah. Their pot shots at WWE, like they created internet buzz. But I agree with you, they have not been a draw, except I would say they were a draw for the very, very first All In.
Okay, yeah, no, I'll give you that. Because there was, but see, it's not just them, right? That was that whole movement of this is the alternative. F the corporate evil overlords. Let's do our own show. We want to support them. So that's that vibe, right?
So it's like a goodwill support as opposed to being a fans of them.
Yeah, and then, here's the thing. Like, it's a one-off. Like Wembley, it's a one-off, right? Well, they're going to do it again. We'll see next year. But it's diminishing returns after that, right? And that is something like a big corporation has to deal with over and over again. I feel like I'm corporate young and this is like the people's foreign right now. A little bit.
But that's the thing, right? Because I feel like I get your point so perfectly because that's the main difference between like a diminishing returns and somebody like Roman Reigns, where every time he's having a match or every time he's having a pay-per-view, it's box office. People want to watch him, right? He becomes a box office attraction, like whenever Brock Lesnar wrestles, or like I think Roman Reigns is now the best current example, right? There's no one like that in AEW. And I think the closest there was actually CM Punk for a certain period in time.
Yeah, exactly. So that goes back to my whole point of like, why are you giving the people who can't draw the reins and, instead firing the guy who, whatever lah. I don't go back to that conversation. Hang on. The Clique started drawing only from WWF, not before. AEW is not big enough to be compared whether they can draw or not. But we saw somebody who could draw. His name is CM Punk. That's the point.
Let me pull some facts for you, right? That I have off the top of my head.
Ooh.
I do not know how I know this, but somehow these kind of details will stuck with me when I write my wrestling articles, bro.
Wrestling historian over here.
Bro, CM Punk gave AEW their first $1 million draw, $1 million house. Double or nothing when he won the AEW World title against Hangman Page. Maybe some people might argue, actually Hangman Page was the draw that made that $1 million. But let's be very honest.
Yeah, what Kool-Aid are you drinking, bro? Come on, man.
It was CM Punk. Okay, let's be honest. It was CM Punk.
Let's be real.
They only got their first $1 million draw in 2022, 3 years after the formation of AEW. So that means, right, Double or Nothing, the very first event, All Out, the one where CM Punk returned, had a great buyout, like a, what do you call it? Had a great what's the word? Buy rate. Sorry.
Buy rate.
Okay. Buy rate. Like, I think they did over almost 500,000, which is in pay-per-view terms for this current generation is like huge, right?
Huge, yeah.
But have you realized all the spikes in businesses have always been CM Punk as a draw?
Sure. I mean, you could argue that that's because he was already a champion, blah, 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 whatever. But it's the same. Like, you go back to the WWF, WCW days, right? Like, Hogan jumping over initially was not a draw. That only when the NWO became a thing, right? Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, also, they came in as the outsiders. It was very interesting, but...
they weren't a draw in WWE.
No.
Because that was like the lowest record sales when they were on top, right?
But I mean, they were still there at a great point in time, right? But ultimately they did become a draw if you look back in history. So, I mean, the jury's still out. Maybe in the next 5 years, the Young Bucks prove me wrong, all of a sudden become superstars and like super draws. We never know, right? But
but their hottest run was like
over.
6 years ago. It's over. I think they're on their downward trend.
But Hogan had the hottest run of his career, and then he turned heel. So you never know. We can't really say, right? Right.
Maybe he becomes Hulk Hogan in his 40s. I don't know. Right? Yeah, whatever it is. The headline is already close to Hogan anyway. So
but yeah, so we're talking about the mega ego. So in a lot of ways, right, the Clique sort of, I don't want to say they deserved it, but at least they were drawing. HBK especially was drawing at that point in time, right? This was before the ascendancy of Stone Cold and such and such. So
when you talk about egos as well, right? If you talk about even Shawn Michaels having an ego and all that, even the good ones, like I would say Stone Cold.
Yep.
Stone Cold was known to have a big ego because he knew he was the number one guy. He knew he was the one that carried WWE to the top, make Attitude Era mainstream.
Yeah.
But everyone knows he was difficult to work with.
Yep.
Everyone knows that he he will never do anything to screw around with his character. He will turn down ideas. And I would say that's not just protecting himself, but he's also having an ego, having an inflated sense of his worth, regardless of whether the records back it up. But in this case, he does back it up.
And the infamous incident of him taking his ball and going home was he was going to lose to Brock Lesnar in a qualifying round of the King of the Ring, right? This is how it's been described. He's like, nope, not doing it. Boom, took his ball, went home, right? Yeah. In a way, I actually see it his way as from a booking standpoint. It's like, why would you have Stone Cold, the biggest name, lose in a qualifying round against Brock Lesnar? Yeah, we know that Brock Lesnar is going to be the next big thing. He's a machine. So have it in the finals,
Yeah. I mean, at that point in time, I think Vince McMahon was trying to book Stone Cold like on the downward trend, and I think Stone Cold realized that he's like, no, I'm not gonna accept that. I'm still a star at that point in time. And during that era, right, Stone Cold walking away was really huge or very bad for business if you think about it, because people were buying house show tickets all for him. So when he walked away that 1 year, apparently the house show attendance dropped, and the sales and the cut-offs that the boys and the girls in the back made was lesser because Stone Cold wasn't in the business. So at that point in time, right, having a top star was really, really important to WWE's business.
It still is. It still is. Having a top star will always be important because people come to see the top stars, and therefore everybody else eats better. Like what Roman Reigns says, right? Like, he's the head of the table. Everyone eats well because I'm here. Yeah,
and I think like having that responsibility, and the way Roman Reigns says it so well, like, this burden, this responsibility on me. But I think there is a hint of truth to it in terms of how, as if the top star is drawing well, everyone else benefits, and if business is bad, everyone suffers.
Now you see the difference. You see the difference here, and I hate that I have to go and bring this back to the whole AEW thing, but you see the difference. One, they are eating off Roman's plate, right? Because he's the top star and he's providing for everybody. On the other side, it's a buffet, ma. You know what I mean? Everyone gets a job regardless of whether they are a draw or not, because they are friends and they have a billionaire backing them. Do you not see that as a problem? I do.
I think the problem is because they have no urgency or pressure of they need to make money.
Yeah, as opposed to the WWE, and love them or hate them, they were always, quote unquote, in the fight. Obviously, they got complacent during the era where it was PG and there was no competition, whatever lah, huh?
Yeah.
But that's not the point here. The point here is that's the issue with AEW right now, in that they're eating well without having to really fight.
Yes, and also I think if they want to be known as just the alternative, which I think AEW's role will always just be the alternative, which is not a bad thing, right? You need to have the options, right? But if they want to be a thriving alternative, they need to create this sense of I need to watch what's happening on AEW. Because I think somebody said it even better than most of us. The drama backstage in AEW is much more interesting than what I see on TV.
Yeah. No, that's exactly true. Yeah.
That's not sustainable, right? For business.
And it's terrible for the people involved as well. Unless this is some very meta play where, but I don't think it is. I think
they are not that complex to be able to pull this off.
Bro, 5 years time we look back, actually they were working us all along. Bro, I'm telling you right now, if that is truly, I will take my head off and say,
then Mr. Young will eat every single word that you ever said about Young Bucks.
I will eat it with no sauce. I'll eat it raw. Okay?
Oh dear
if
God.
that really does come to pass. But yeah, so just going back, right, to this whole main event egos, as it were. We talked about the Clique. Shawn Michaels, Triple H. And, there was a long time where I couldn't stand Triple H. He was on you remember the era, where Triple H was everywhere? Same with John Cena, he was everywhere.
They call it the reign of terror, right?
Yeah, the reign of terror, right? I mean, we go as far back as, Hogan, for crying out loud. Where whenever you give people power to creatively book themselves, that's when you run into problems. End days WCW. And I feel like I see a lot of parallels between that and AEW right now.
Yes, I agree. And also I feel like it's not just the people who crave this power, right? I think it's the enablers that makes things really, really bad.
Billionaire Ted,
or Eric Bischoff at that point in time. I would even argue Vince Russo was an enabler. But I think the way he enables is worse. He enables himself.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just booking random world title matches with himself, and he's supposed to be the writer. I think can we talk about something a bit more recent? We talked about John Cena a bit, right? But I would feel like John Cena, Randy Orton, that era, that PG era, right? There was a lot of main event egos involved, because if you remember in the early 2010s, a lot of people were just complaining that John Cena is holding people down.
Yeah.
Or not letting people go up to the main event. Every time he buried the Nexus he buried Alex Riley And even when CM Punk was feuding with John Cena, I think that was one of the big points he brought up against John Cena, right? You keep people down. What do you think? Is that really the case, or was it just WWE just going all in with John Cena?
I think a little bit of both. And also, I have to default to you because, I stopped watching around this era, right? The 2013 onwards. I have this 5-6 year gap of wrestling there. I mean, everyone at a certain point has sort of when they have that burden on their shoulders, the golden shovel. Wait, wasn't that Triple H? Or was that...
No, even Cena had a golden shovel.
He was the golden shovel. But, heavy lies the... What was it? What was the saying? Heavy lies the burden on the king, or whatever it is. But no, there is 100%. And so, as the guy sort of looking down and say, okay, who should I, bring up to my level? Of course, you are going to be very picky, what? And, it's like how... I don't think any one of us can understand or can step into that role. You know what I mean? In terms of the whole company is resting on your shoulders. All right. Now we're gonna ask you to do this, and it makes you look like an ass. Of course, you say no, right? Or this person who you don't think is ready, but they want you to work with him. You're like, maybe not, right? And then you're burying the guy.
I mean, John Cena had no problems making himself like an ass in a lot of those segments, and saying all those lame shit, right?
Heavy lies the crown. Yes, thank you.
Yes. One thing that I think even John Cena admits, and I think he said it in an interview recently. He did admit that Roman Reigns is doing a better job as a top star than he ever did, because, and this was one of his quotes, and I'm paraphrasing, of course. He said Roman Reigns has the ability to pull people up to his level. He's creating stars around him, and I never had the chance. I could never have done that when I was on top. So maybe that was a bit of him hinting that he didn't have the ability to kind of push the kind of people he want or help create stars. Because, Vince McMahon was such a, stickler for I want this guy to be number one. He cannot lose Super Cena, right? Maybe if it was John Cena having a lot of the input, maybe he will be like, you know what, I want to create more stars other than just Randy Orton and me. I want to have CM Punk, blah, blah, blah.
Or maybe Cena is just a really good soldier in that, okay, Vince, you want me to do what? I do what lah? You know, or you want me to be him? I do him. Like I feel like, you know, Roman, and because this era is less Vince and it's more like quote unquote collaborative with Triple H, storytelling, blah, 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 right? That's why it's panning out a different way. Like I see a lot of like Vince in that era of booking.
You know what? I have another great wrestling historian comparison that you might appreciate, Mr. Young.
Go for it, bro.
I would compare CM Punk and John Cena, right, to who or not?
Who?
Bret Hart and Undertaker.
Wait, okay. Who's the Bret Hart?
Bret Hart is clearly CM Punk.
CM Punk, right.
Right.
And Undertaker is, because Undertaker also, traditionally, we know he's loyal to the end to Vince, to WWE.
Bro, I'm 3 for 3 on wrestling references today, bro.
Let's go.
No, but that's what the point I'm trying to make, right? I feel like John Cena is like Undertaker, like, you know what? Whatever you ask me to do, I'll do it. I'll do it to the best of my ability. I'm loyal to you to a fault. I'm a company guy. But if you remember when Undertaker was on top in 1997, business wasn't doing so well as well. He was just listening to, the boss. But I feel like the renegade, the kind of guy who will like question stuff and create that conflict up on top is actually the thing that will make TV compelling. And I feel like we miss, right, an era where CM Punk was on top in WWE. I think whatever that happened after the fact that he's gonna walk out and all that, right? If, for example, in an alternate universe where CM Punk, was still happy, took over so-called the crown from John Cena, so he was like the in-between generation between John Cena and Roman Reigns, right? I feel we would have had that Attitude Era-ish boom because we had like a very divisive, controversial guy on top.
A shit disturber, as it were. That's a very good point as well. Bro, you are firing on all cylinders today, my man.
Bro, it's the weather, bro.
It's nice weather. Huh? Look, I'm thinking about all the main event guys, right? For example, The Rock. The Rock, in a lot of ways, is also very much a company man, right?
Yep.
Like, you never heard of him having, talk about he has big ego in Hollywood, that's a different story altogether, really. But in his time as a WWF, WWE superstar, there was no walkout, there was no thing of him not wanting to do this, that, and the other thing. He just became a megastar outside.
Yep, he is. You know what? I give you one more reference just to wrap up for today.
Go for it.
The Rock in WWE, it's a company man, like you said, right?
Yeah.
But The Rock Unleashed in Hollywood, right? It's like what? it's like what or not, bro?
What?
The Rock Unleashed in Hollywood is like Chris Jericho with the shackles off in AEW.
Oh my god! Just whatever, any nonsense idea, he's like, okay, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, and I'm the clown. I'm gonna put myself at the forefront no matter what. I think it is what it is, right?
Right.
I feel that's the case.
Okay, when is The Rock coming back? Because recently with the whole, you heard about the whole thing with Oprah. They trying to get donations for Hawaii, but then they're like, you're billionaires asking for money, and then he's gotten a lot of negative press. So I'm like, maybe he needs to come back to the WWE to salvage his career.
I have no idea what's happening, but The Rock, everything he's doing is like the opposite of a Midas touch recently.
Yeah, for all his celebrity is like he's just gone doing weird things that have gotten him bad press. Maybe not weird things, like he's done things that on the surface might be, positive, but somehow it's all backfired on him.
I don't know whether it's just the media manipulation, because at the end of the day, what he's asking for is just to help Hawaii, right? And just asking for donations.
Yeah, the optics of it is that two billionaires asking for money.
Yeah, because what billionaires do well?
What?
Spend and make money from other people, not from their own money.
Yeah,
right?
So I think that is the big, oh, what the hell are y'all doing? So anyway.
Yeah.
That's neither here nor there lah.
I don't know. But maybe he can do what John Cena is doing right now, a 2-month stint in WWE while the writers are on strike.
Right. You will always have egos in any business. And it's just, as a boss, it all goes back to this. And I will give Vince McMahon credit for all his faults. And we know he has many faults. His terrible booking biases, his, alleged, improprieties, sexual improprieties at work, whatever.
For sure.
All that, he ran the ship. He dealt with the egos. I think the best of anyone I've seen in terms
Yeah,
of this
for sure.
business, you know?
Mhm.
Like he gave those that were drawing him because he's a businessman. And this is another credit to him. Like he brought back Eric Bischoff. We talked about this. He brought in people who will make him money. He will put
Yep.
aside his ego and he'll do business, do what's right for business, right? So Tony Khan, on the other hand, he's not going to put his foot down on anything. And that's why you have that issue of egos running amok. And
Yeah.
the problem over there is the elite aren't even main event. Like maybe only Kenny Omega, you know? And you talk about them bringing in their friends. You got like the Dark Order. You got Jack Perry. None of them are, none of them are
they're
even
not
upper
main
mid
event
cards.
stars. Yeah. they're not
Okay,
main event
here's a
stars.
hot take for you, bro. Here's a hot take.
Okay.
At his peak, X-Pac was a bigger draw than these jackasses. How about that?
No, you're absolutely right. I would say Too Cool is a bigger draw than anyone on the show right now, you know?
No, I mean, my comparison is like X-Pac was, in the clique, right? He's also a crony.
Yeah.
Cronyism in the WWE. There, I said it. Oh, Mr. Young admits to cronyism in the WWE. Like, duh, nobody said that was anyway.
Oh dear God. Okay, but at the end of the day, I think main event egos will always exist, and I would argue you can't be in a main event if you don't have an ego or you don't have at least a crazy amount of self-belief in yourself. Because I think wrestling is such a hard business to be. Like, if I'm gonna be like quite like I just want to do my job, I just want to tap out and go home, I will not be successful in pro wrestling. I mean, that's just the case, right?
Once in a while, you will have examples of people that do, right? Like the feel-good stories, your Kofis, your Bryan Danielsons and whatnot. Yes, it does happen, right? But yeah, by and large, you have to have incredible self-belief. And when that ego runs wild, what you gonna do, brother? You gotta nut up and make hard decisions. Something that Tony Khan is woefully unprepared to do.
Oh yeah. So, well, I think that's our podcast. I think we've really covered a lot. 2 hours.
Hey, just nice. It's 2:00. Everybody, go and rest and stop thinking about the drama and start enjoying wrestling because wrestling tribalism is bad.
Mr. Young, your eye roll, I can see right through you, bro. Okay, you know what? Looking ahead, I know this month is still a bit of a down month because the next pay-per-view is Fastlane. Like, come on, Fastlane.
Wait, hey. Remember last week we said don't sleep on the WWE PLEs. Like even the mid-tier, the mid ones have delivered in a way. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Fastlane, and then I do not know. I think Wrestle Dream is actually first weekend of October. So those are what's coming up in the near horizon.
Yeah.
In immediate horizon, bro, this weekend I'm actually going off to Australia, bro.
Bro, enjoy Aussie.
Yo, oi. But like how we did last year, if some shit happen over the weekend or some nonsense, if CM Punk suddenly drop a podcast with Jim Cornette, just let me know, bro. I'll record my thoughts from overseas for you to stitch together, bro. No worries.
No worries. Hey, please go and enjoy your life outside of wrestling. There's lots of fun to be had. Yeah. And then after that, next week, the following week, that is, we come back and we do what we do.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys want to keep the conversation going beyond the podcast, please join us on our Discord and support us on our Patreon so that I can fund my lifestyle. No lah, okay lah. Any support will help. Thank you so much, bro. My lifestyle is not much, bro. I'm just chilling. I just have it's a very sparse lifestyle, bro. I don't ask for much.
Very good, bro. Yeah. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. As always, we appreciate your time and please have yourself a great Tuesday, great week ahead. We'll catch you all soon. As always, Discord, Patreon, everything is in the description. Links are there for you. It's time for us to get out of here. It's Mr. Young.
And it's for in the building. Take care.
Let me see you try.